everyone, welcome again to Chaiwala Show, and in this opportunity we have a special guest. Her name is Linda and she is working with a networking group here in Kitchener, Ontario. Hi Linda, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. So my name is Linda Ockwell-Jenner. I'm one of the co-founders of the Small Business Community Network, and we look after new businesses, people who are thinking about starting a new business, and we have some corporate members as well.
Tell us please, how did you start this business?
Well, many years ago, actually 21 years ago, I came up with the idea to start the SBCN because I have another business called Motivational Steps, and that was going nicely for 3 years. But what I found was in my early days, I couldn't afford to join a chamber because I had no money to join a chamber. So I kind of helped myself and found free networking events and stuff like that. And then my co-founder of the SBCN, Dave Ockwell-Jenner, who's a corporate guy, he got laid off from a company called Nortel. He's a very clever guy, he's Dave, and he used to work for Nortel in England and here, and he emigrated here to marry me, the fool. And basically, I knew nothing about business when Dave came over, but I'd already established a good brand for me, and a brand is very important when you're networking, so people know who you are. So when Dave got laid off, he said, oh, I'm going to go and work at this famous company. And he had the most awful resume you could imagine.
Yeah.
And I didn't look at his resume. And this is something I'd like the viewers to know, that people don't just look at your resume today. They want to know a little bit more about you. So basically, I sent Dave to 3 networking events, not a chamber one. And he came back and said one was too expensive, nobody talked to him at the other one, and he just didn't like the last one. And then all of a sudden, something popped into my head, and I said, we've got the chambers, we've got the Business Network International, but there's a niche, there's something missing for new businesses, small businesses, and maybe people who want to move around in the corporate world. Now, I'd never done this before, so it was a bit of a risk. And the reason I put the word community in there is because I wanted to build a community versus something that was stuffy, boring, and all about referrals. No disrespect, referrals are great. And so basically we met at Zayas. It's a grocery store, community room, because it was free. And we had to buy coffee and donuts in November 2003, that was. And we were so good at what we did. After 1 year, one of our regular members, Adam Smith, said, do you have a membership? And we said, yes. Think on your feet, people. We didn't have a membership, but we made one. And we've lasted 21 years. You were at our 21st anniversary. And we've helped hundreds of people be successful.
I'm an immigrant myself. I know. And I've learned how important it is to network here. I mean, maybe, I don't know about your original country, but in my country, you don't find these kind of spaces to connect with other people related to your business or not. But here is so important. And you found a niche, right? Even though there were some networking events, startups or entrepreneurs or people that just have an idea to work on their own business, they have no clue how to start.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And you found it, and it's exactly. Very brave to start this kind of business to help these people.
If you start a business with the idea you're going to be rich and famous, you sometimes lose the plot because you're so intense on making money. And unless you've got something like, something that nobody else has ever invented in the world, really it's hard today to be able to get a product that is so different that you are going to become instantly famous. So I went into it saying I want to help people. I really do want to help people. Bearing in mind, I could pay the bills, my bills, with my existing business as a motivational speaker and a business consultant. Dave was in the corporate world. He did get his job, and he got it because basically somebody in the networking, field who met him said, we want to hire you. Yeah. And then he got headhunted from there. Networking is important in many ways. We offer seminars that educate people. We don't focus on referrals in the sense that grab your business card off you, please buy my widget. It's more about building the relationships. And also, building a community means I can call upon you and say, hey, how do I do a video? And you would probably tell me, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So it's more about the mentorship and the help. And many of our businesses have gone on to be really, really successful. Some businesses gave up in the early days because it was all about making the money, and trying to cut the price of, say, someone like you. You know, well, I'll be better than him, so I'll be less expensive. That doesn't work. You've got to know your true value.
What is that makes you feel passionate about your business?
Well, my first business, Motivational Steps, which I wasn't going to talk about, but the reason I started that business was to talk about health and wellness because I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. What happened was I'm so good at public speaking or being a keynote speaker, I started making money really quickly and became a global keynote speaker. But again, the passion there was helping people. That's very important. For the SBC and the Small Business Community Network, I didn't have any help. I started my business a year after going back to school to be a secretary after my second diagnosis of breast cancer. And I suddenly said to Dave and my kids, I'm going to be a motivational speaker. But I didn't have any money for networking. I had no money for a budget to buy anything. Dave was my only mentor. And so basically I'm passionate about giving back to people because I couldn't find anybody to help me in all those early days. So it's important that we know not everybody's as fortunate as we are now and can afford to pay for a mentor or a consultant or to attend a networking event.
Let's talk about your competition. What is the added value that you offer to your customers?
Okay, well, I don't see any business should worry about competition.
Yeah.
Because everybody should be unique at what they offer. Now, I love the chambers. I love all the chambers. I love all the BNI networks. But the reason I've never been a member of a BNI network is because I have a very specific business as a motivational speaker. And it would be rare if I passed my business card to you at one of those events and you said, yeah, I can pay you $3,000 to be a keynote speaker. That doesn't happen, you know, really. Other people hire you. As for the Small Business Community Network, the Chamber loves us and we love them for the simple reason we are serving different benefits. The Chamber's more of an advocacy, does excellent work, and also they offer a lot more specific events than we do. We offer monthly events, and we offer networking events, obviously, and we offer mentoring and podcasts. So never be scared of the competition because even if you're doing exactly the same thing, you're different in many ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot of sense. Of course, you have challenges in this business, right?
I have challenges. I have lots of challenges.
Can you tell us a little bit about your challenges?
For the SBCN networking organisation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically when we first started, there was nothing else like us. And it's obvious. So let's take Apple and BlackBerry as an example.
Yeah.
BlackBerry were the first people to come up with a smartphone. And I believe because they were complacent and fobbed off the fact that Apple had come along and said they'll never be any better than us, I think complacency set in. And Apple didn't steal the idea. Apple worked on an idea that's already there, which is great because you should never reinvent the wheel. This is where mentors come in. So I think what Apple did, they were very clever and made a better version of what BlackBerry did. But if BlackBerry were clever and they marketed it in the right way and were a bit more savvy, they'd still be around today. So I think basically our challenges today are, in the early days, there was lots of networking events going on, but our membership just grew and grew because it was very affordable, offered benefits at no extra charge. So nobody could kind of be the same as us. And people would ask me, do you mind if I do something similar? I go, no, as long as you know it's still our name. The challenge is now, since COVID, is people don't want to attend events, and it's not just our events. They want to sit in front of a camera and go, hi, but there's no personal, we don't build the relationships.
Yeah.
And I often say, if you do some virtual, then go to some in person and then go on LinkedIn or Facebook and carry the conversation on there. Does that make sense to you?
A lot of sense. I mean, we've been talking about this before this interview, and I've been sharing with you how difficult it was for us, Latino people, to have this, separation from the other. And I truly believe that it was very hard to get connect with other people after COVID,
Yes.
right? What is the main factor that allows you to connect with people?
Me or anybody in general?
In general, if you like.
Well, allow is a weird word, if you don't mind me saying. I just say what people don't say. Connecting with people, I think, shouldn't be a scary process. It should be like you are talking to a friend or a family member, because if you're there just to sell to somebody, it's not a proper conversation. You're not going to build a relationship. All the other person cares about, or you care about, is selling a product or service. The most successful businesses know that we have to fill a need. So if I said to you now, I'd love to sell you these new video cameras I've got, you'd look at me like I'm daft, because you'd say, I've got enough video cameras. What I would do is talk to you at a networking event, and I'd ask you lots of questions, and because people trust me, you would answer all the questions.
Yeah.
That gives me a clue as to if I can help you or not. Do you remember I said at some networking events, people run round after me and say, Linda, I can help you. And I go, how? And they go, I can fix your terrible website. And I go, well, my website's not terrible, but which website? And they look at me and they go, I didn't research you. So basically, what I think connecting is all about is having a conversation with the other person.
Yeah.
And even if you can't help them by buying their product or service, you can get to know them, build a trusted relationship, introduce them to people. And then if you really trust them and you like the product or service, refer them to people. But always be careful you know them well enough, or you could get burned. If you're a plumber and I recommend you to one of my friends, and then you get there and you ruin their plumbing system, my reputation's shot.
Of course.
It's lots and lots of things joined together, connecting. It's not just please buy my widget. It's nothing like that.
I work as well as a freelancer, and I've learned that in this country, people actually trust you when they realize that you can achieve what they expect from you.
Thank you. That's a brilliant one. And do you know how they know that fact that you can achieve what you say you can achieve? Do you know how they come to that conclusion?
Research.
Research is good, yeah, because basically they should be able to type in not just your business name, but your first name and something attached to it that finds you easily online. So I call it a brand presence. It's not about your colour of your website or your font or anything like that. So I'm the social sweetheart. I didn't call myself that, my people did who like me out there. So basically, if you're not searchable and found quickly, so I think anybody who trusts somebody who hasn't got a longevity, not so much a long-standing brand, but if you can't find somebody online and they haven't got anything as like standing up for them to say they are kosher, I wouldn't trust them, because there are so many people out there today who are, scammers and just want your money.
Yes. So, Linda, what are your plans for the future on your business?
For the Small Business Community Network, we want to continue to help our members. Non-members obviously can attend. It just costs $12, which I think is a fair amount. Even if you're starting a new business, I think $12 is maybe just a little bit more over a regular cup of coffee. I couldn't find anything for $12 when I was looking all those years ago. So we want to carry on helping our members. People ask us why we didn't expand across Ontario, because it's a very wonderful, offering that we've got there.
Of course.
The secret sauce, unfortunately, is myself and Dave. No one else can do what we do for the SBCM, because we are personable, we are friendly. We treat our members and people who come to our events as more like friends, and we go out of our way to help them. So if we went across the country, we'd have to have other people doing that for us. And so many people tried that before COVID for other networking organisations, and they're not around anymore. It just doesn't work. So we don't do this to pay our bills, we do this as a give back. So our plans for the future continue as long as people need us, and then maybe if they don't need us anymore, I'll travel more.
Yeah, that would be fun. Wonderful. Yeah. And what advice would you give to someone who's just starting a new business? Maybe this person just have an idea.
Have an idea, yeah.
And has no clue how to start.
Yeah. My biggest thing is if you know someone who's already operating a business, it doesn't have to be the same business, and you trust them, I would have a word with them first and foremost to give you some ideas, because basically, again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. I never had a business plan for either of these businesses. That's not a good idea. You need a business plan. I would also say depending where you live in Canada, there's something called small business centres. They give you a lot of advice. My advice would be to do it because you have a passion for it and not because you want to make lots of money, because you will fail. My second thing is research. And before you announce to the world that you're selling something, please make part of a brand. And when I say part of a brand, again, the website is your marketing, your business card is marketing, but your personality, your message, the way you talk to people, the way, whether you go to networking events, I normally wear a lot of pink. It's not about what you wear. If I said to you now, you know, I think you're one of the nicest people I know and I want to introduce you to some of my connections, you'd probably, hopefully go away and say, I met Linda, she's lovely, I want to introduce you to her. But if I said to you, you know, I'd like you to help me build my business, but I'm not going to pay you any money for it, even though I know you're busy, and I'd like you to do free videos, you'd probably go away and say, don't go by Linda, she's too bossy. So again, what you say to people counts, but before you announce to the world that you're starting a business, prepare, prioritise and plan, and look as professional as possible.
Yes.
And know your target market. And before you say everybody, that's not possible. It's really not possible. Not even for Apple, and I love Apple, because not everybody likes Apple, nobody can afford Apple. So know your target market, know your value, and don't try to cut prices. And that's in the early days, because once your reputation's gone, you can't get it back.
Nice advice. Actually, I've learned a lot in this interview. Well, is there anything that you'd like to add to this?
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a fun time. You've made me laugh.
You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming and share all of your experience to our people.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.